Hello guys, and welcome back to Power and Revolution 2019 edition with our Chinese playthrough here. As you can see, last episode we took over Bangladesh, and I'll have to take a look through it to see what I want to do with it. We also ended up with this sit-in demonstration from the ecologists. I'm just going to call police intervention against this right from the very get-go. I'm not even going to pussyfoot around it here. Now that we're done with Bangladesh, I've gone in here and updated my spy networks. Moved some out of India because we're ready to cyber attack that whenever. Started setting up some new locations to get some agents into, that kind of jazz. I'm also just going to go ahead and set Georgia right to cyber attack because, quite frankly, I don't need permission to take them over. And I'd rather do it sooner rather than later so I can get this, see if I can join the CSTO, and hell, establish this as like a little bit of a base head in this area. And maybe we can even pounce out somewhere into Europe, at least places that aren't in NATO. But this certainly allows us to look at the opportunity. We also finished getting our last space program all the way through basically last episode. So I'm going to set up another one here. It's going to be another orbital probe, this time around Io, which is another moon of Jupiter. We'll just call it Io probe, short and sweet, just to keep that gravy train going. And we'll set this up to 575 million, I guess. We'll set that up to there and hit create. Okay, so I found what must be a bug. I don't understand it. But if you take a look here, we now have an electricity surplus of almost 400,000 watts. Our production cap has skyrocketed. If we go into electricity, this hasn't changed too much just yet, but I found the cause of this. It's from Bangladesh. It's this nuclear reactor. It says it has an annual capacity of almost 400,000 watts. I don't know if that's a bug that's gonna, stay. I don't know if that's a coding error, if I can go into another game and see Bangladesh have exactly that much production just like that. But I'm gonna keep an eye on it. And if it is the way it seems to be, then technically I never need to build power again. And technically, I can dismantle all fossil fuel, everything. Actually, emphasis on everything. I can probably dismantle, everything that is not this reactor. Which may be silly, because if it got destroyed ever or had an accident, then I'd have no power. But at the very least, it could definitely help me cut back on carbon emissions if this actually stays. I'll keep an eye on it, and I'll let you guys know later. Well, our offensive on that sit-in had a hard time, but we did it, I guess. We evicted them, so I think the sit-in's done, and for the first time ever, we've actually gotten negative, popularity, a loss of popularity, which is kind of surprising. That hasn't happened, at all. Now that we have a good amount of money again, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and do something here that I basically undid at the start in order to try to get out of debt. And that's, I'm going to go back to established state aid for purchase of property. I'm going to set it all the way back up to reduced income tax, which will give a massive amount of aid for especially poorer citizens of China to acquire their own property. And it also spurs on the housing and production sector as well, which would also theoretically give a constant boost to our economy. It's not that, expensive, really. So I'm not too worried about it or anything. Indonesia's also having a earthquake, a pretty serious looking one. Got a nice boost to that. People didn't like the public finances part of it, but they liked getting that help there. Well, the Security Council just voted on Bangladesh's initiative against me. I didn't have permission to invade them, so everyone was like, yes, stop China. Even Russia was willing to turn on me. Even Zimbabwe, my allies. And I voted no, so it's vetoed. Take that, UN. Alright, so I just got another 100 helicopters delivered. That's awesome. We got Tajikistan wants to make a meeting? What? What? Okay, they want to make a meeting, but it won't let me, so I guess get out. Bug? Well, the law on property acquisition just went through. I lost a bit more due to a meeting. I guess it was the one that bugged out. I mean, that's weird that I lost popularity for not attending a meeting I couldn't schedule. That's a weird bug. But either way, it gives me an excuse to do some stuff to improve things, such as finally starting to try to get rid of some of this dilapidated housing. to help out the poorer of my society. Let us see. So we have a lot. We have a lot of dilapidated housing. We have a lot more housing than we started the game with because we've taken over so many places. The places we've taken over have better housing situations than we had, though, because the AI really focused this shit. How much of this can I get rid of at once? So I can get rid of all of this at one time. It's going to cost me $42 billion, but I have the manpower and the money to rehabilitate this amount of housing in less than a month. All right, let's do that. I don't know how that's going to affect the economy. I don't know fully how that's going to affect anything, but I do know the more public housing that is not dilapidated, I don't know, is better for the poor. Yeah, now I got this shit in the paper where the leader of Tajikistan's calling me out because I didn't meet with him for something. I don't get it. I didn't even have the option. I had a blank screen. Why? What the fuck? Hey, at least my president or whatever isn't going broke and losing his apartment anymore. Now it's just his salary is lower than most civil servants' salaries. So that's cool. Our first round on the EO probe or IO probe is done. Look at how it wrote the objective. It put the I and the O in the same spot. This game's breaking, guys. But Russia is, of course, the one we're going to pick because they're the only one offering me money. And we move on to the second round. So it's been a while, so I think I'm going to launch a Citizen Awareness of Cybersecurity Day because that trails off pretty quick. We also got another 150 helicopters delivered. That is awesome. We are now at 1,250 rank 3 helicopters. We're nearing our target goal of 2,000, and we will have the best helicopter fleet out there. I still want to expand my missile launcher thing, but with how high growth is maintaining itself, I'm going about it slowly because I don't want to basically heat up my economy too much at the moment. And I have other things to work on right now, like maintaining my popularity. I do want to get the situation for the poor to be a little better because I'm taking over a lot of poor countries. I'm getting all their poverty every time I do. You see these spikes? And if we take a look at farming, I'm also getting their undernourished populations. No, this is finance, not farming. Their undernourished populations. Here, I'll show you a spike. You see that spike? That's me taking over Bangladesh. That's a huge spike. I don't know. Again, I'm not 100% on how to deal with that. If I remember correctly, I saw it somewhere here. Dietary risks, was it? World hunger. Yeah, it said like overpopulation, social inequity. I don't know if this is what affects undernourished. Like this stuff right here, global warming, natural disasters, all this crap. But this is something I can work on. Social inequality is basically what I'm trying to work on right now. Natural disasters comes from global warming and overpopulation all kind of mix in, and I can work on that stuff too. But social inequality is something I want to address sooner rather than later before it gets too out of control. So the housing stuff's gone pretty well. We've already renovated all those houses, which is really incredible. I don't have the manpower to do the rest of this all at once, but I do have the manpower to renovate half of what remains at once. And this is a lot. This is going to cost me almost $75 billion. And it's going to be a real quick allocation of 10,000 manpower. Million. Each manpower is not one person, by the way. I don't know what the person to manpower ratio is or if it's even consistent. But this is manpower per building. I can't reduce this. It'll be done in less than a month. I'm going to do it. We're going to get this number to 0 just like almost every other fucking country has. Not all of them. They do it and then they gain a little more and then they forget to do it, I guess. But one way or another, I'm going to get this fixed up. I'm going to see if I can fix up things like, I don't know, just the amount of homeless people, get this lowered to a better point if I can improve the purchasing power. I don't think there's a way for me to see the purchasing power of my population. Look at this contraception rate, by the way. This is almost at 100%. This caught up real nice, but our birth rate is still up there, and it's been on the rise. Our fertility rate's been holding stable. Our population growth spiked the moment we took Bangladesh. Again, every time you take a country, it just adds the two rates together and then spike. So it gets real hard to control. And if overpopulation is a thing that adds to these problems that can cause undernourishment or things like that, that little bug there, and that is a bug, can become an issue. Rejected the request of Russian membership of the G7. Really? So looking at the production cap and all this shit on the electricity screen, I'm pretty confident this is like a bug and this isn't my actual electricity surplus. At this point, it's really hard to tell. Because my production percentage of the world's has actually gone down. It's not going up. And while I do produce, some of the most, it's because I use some of the most. Oh damn, Japan just had a hurricane. I can hear that hurricane in the background. So I think this is just bugged. I think a lot of the stuff in this game at this point is just bugged. I think everything's getting bugged. So I can't really rely on this. This doesn't matter for the rest of the playthrough. So I'm going to pay more attention of this. Our trade balance is good. Our production's way higher than our consumption. Our consumption seems to have gone down, or others has gone up. That being said, we do seem to have pretty good electricity stuff here. So if I am going to deconstruct certain electricity things, then this is the menu I think I want to pay attention to, not this. We have just discovered bionic system of retinal capture. What is this? It's some sort of implant for your eyes. And it can take pictures, so it's some fancy spy stuff, I guess. Or just, the future of AR. Or something like that. So I guess I'll just keep that for myself, because I'm sure we'll get more. Oh, look at this. Winnie the Pooh is causing the breakup of predation and productivity. The country's finally getting out of the era of poor eating and living conditions. That's good. So I guess whatever I'm doing is having an effect. Let's take a look at is the poverty line going down? I mean, if it is, it hasn't updated yet. Something must be getting better if shit like that is appearing. What about undernourished? I mean, this all looks the same so far. I don't know exactly what's changing, but apparently it's for the better. No new partner for this program. So we're going to go into the IO probe here, and we're just going to fund the rest of it, which is going to be 96%. Let's try it. 96%. Not enough. Need a little bit more. 96.5%. Raises the budget a little, and we'll approve the program. And we have our IO probe going. Let's get another one. Before we get another one, though, I'm actually going to move this from 2027 into 2026 for the launch date, because we do have the ability to succeed then. And I'd rather get it out of the way sooner rather than earlier. Well, we can keep our eyes on Jupiter now. We're going for Ganymede and Io already with some probes, just to get some basic, looking at all this stuff done. I don't think we're actually going for Jupiter itself. That being said, there's plenty of orbital probes sent to Jupiter, but we'll join him in there. So Jupiter probe. I'm gonna dominate space at this rate, and we're gonna put this up to the amount of money is really changing the way this works. So I'm going to put this up to 600. We're just going to start making these probes 600 as a standard. And let's create that and see where it leads us. It looks like those houses are already done being fixed up. So it looks like we can just get the final 1,000,000 houses out of the way. And yeah, that's going to cost another 75 billion. Super expensive, but my money is holding out so far. Oh God, what's happening? My game has my game just shut. So I'm actually just going to end this episode here, and I'm going to leave you guys with a question. I'm in a very interesting situation. The problem with these Power and Revolution playthroughs is every single time you save the game breaks a little more. More bugs get introduced, crashes can and will become more frequent. Other things will just, as you see, there will be a new bug every video. This isn't developing over time. This is developing every time I save the game. And I always save the game when I finish recording a video. I've done very long playthroughs of this where I stream for 8 hours in one day, and because I never really save the game until the end of it, I don't crash, I don't get any bugs, all that kind of jazz. I can only really record this game in generally one sitting for one episode, and this can take me anywhere from an hour to record. This episode took me about an hour to record, and then it crashed, and this was the footage that I got out of it. Since I don't have autosaves on, that means I have to start from the beginning in a next video, but it may just crash again. So I have a question for you guys. What do you think I should do with this series going forward? Should I turn on autosaves? If I do, that's going to make the game break even faster. I know, I've tested this before, because when autosaves are on, you save more frequently. And again, every time you save a game, every time there's a save that happens on a game, for whatever reason, it just breaks more and more and more. So should I turn on autosaves and try to continue, so hopefully I can reload, just before a crash happens and not lose an hour worth of recording? Or do you think I should end this series here and just kind of call it and get ready to go on to, the next series so we can have a start that's not as buggy, if even? I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm not quite sure how to handle this. Because if I turn on autosaves, then I can get past any crashing. But the problem is, crashing and other bugs will become more common more quickly, and then instead of having these kinds of game-breaking bugs around episode 30 or whatever the hell we're on, we're gonna have them around episode 10, if even. And I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you, if not on the next one, then in another series, I guess. If you want to talk to me one-on-one too, I have a community server in the description below. I suggest joining that, and you can talk to me about all these strategy games or even play some with me. But that's it for now, guys. Bye-bye.